another episode of Paranormal. And tonight we are going to be investigating one of Liverpool's most haunted cemeteries, St James's Cemetery. So this cemetery started its life as a quarry called Quarry Mount, and then in 1775 it was then renamed to St James Mount. In 1825, the council hired an architect called John Foster, who was told to design St James's Cemetery. Unfortunately, John Foster later died, and he too is buried within these grounds. The most famous resident of this cemetery is William Huskisson, who was the first railway fatality. He was also an MP for Liverpool. He died in 1829 at Parkside Station, where he fell beneath a train. The spirit of William is often seen limping and wearing a top hat and tails. He is seen walking in and out of his tomb. The cemetery also contains Liverpool's only run spring, noted in 1773 by a surgeon called James Worthington, who recommended it for rickets. Now, for anybody who doesn't know what rickets are, rickets caused a lot of pain, would make you tired easy, and could give you stomach problems. There is an inscription above the spring which reads, "Christian reader, view in me an emblem of true charity, who freely what I have bestow, though neither heard nor seen to flow. And I have full returns from heaven for every cup of water given." There are a lot of graves here. Burials continued in this cemetery until 1936. After 57,839 burials, the cemetery was considered full. The final burial ever conducted here was in 1936. During the Victorian times, this cemetery was having burials of 8 per day. Some of the graves here range from a sea captain who was killed in suspicious circumstances to a woman who had dwarfism. She was an artist who worked her early years at a Victorian freak show. Children who died during the cholera epidemics, an American senator, and a sailor who fought at the Battle of Trafalgar. Many of the children who died were from orphanages and hospitals in Liverpool. They were all laid to rest here, including 14 children from Blue Coat Hospital between 1867 and 1887. Captain Halsey of South Carolina, who aboard the ship Thomas Benny came to an untimely death in the Bay of Biscay in 1844. Kitty Wilkinson, who was friends with a widow who supported the orphans. She was a nurse to the sick and also an instigator of baths and washhouses for the poor. In the cemetery, now turned into a public garden, this has a hearse tunnel which emerges at the junction of Rodney, St James and Duke Street. In this cemetery there is also a quarryman's tunnel. Carved into the walls is a large amount of graffiti, some dating back as far as 1797, possibly done by the quarry workers. We'll show you it later on our investigation. There is a pedestrian tunnel in this cemetery, which is 10 foot wide and 12 foot high. The tunnel walls are decorated with gravestones. The gravestones were moved onto the walls during the transformation of the cemetery to a public garden. There are many ghosts that haunt this cemetery. too many to count. This is known as one of the biggest paranormal hotspots in Liverpool.
The paranormal team said that they heard a woman saying the words, "Don't tell anyone," by the grave of a mother and son who died when the SS Elan Vannon sank.
A spirit of a woman in black has been seen very often here. She looks like she's from Victorian or Edwardian times, and she's normally seen heading towards the tomb that was ransacked by grave robbers in the 1970s. A spirit of a little girl is often seen and heard in this cemetery. The little girl is called Little Grace. Grace was 6 years old when she died. She had a wealthy dad and a poor mother. Her mother and father had separated, and because her mother had too many children to look after, she struggled to look after little Grace. So Grace went to live with her dad. Her dad worked in a building by the cemetery, and Grace would often come to the cemetery to play. But when she was 6, she contracted pneumonia and died. Her dad paid workers in the cemetery to bury her in an unmarked grave. Grace's spirit is often seen dressed in a white dress, and she is often heard crying. One day, a man walking through this cemetery heard her cries, and he went over to see who was crying. When he saw a little girl dressed in white, he asked the child, "What is wrong?" Grace replied, "No one visits me." He asked her, "Where is your dad?" Grace pointed to the building where her dad worked. The man went to the building to say what had just happened, but nothing was ever done about it. Later, her name, Little Grace, was carved into the stone. We will show you later on our ghost tours Little Grace's name carved into stone, but we can't right now as there's many people by it. Okay guys, so as promised, we're still waiting for darkness to come, but as promised we showed you Little Grace where her name is carved into the wall. And just for respect for the poor little 6-year-old girl, me and my husband, Aspinall Paranormal Hunters, have decided to get her a little bunch of flowers to show our respect for Little Grace. There you go, sweet child.
Good night, God bless, little one. May you rest in peace. Hundreds of children have been seen running round the cemetery dressed as chimney sweeps.
A vampire is apparently buried here. How the story goes of the vampire, it starts with a farm which was on St. Domingo Road in the 1600s. One day, a police officer was walking past the farm when he heard a lot of noise coming from within the farm. So he looked through the window and found loads of jars with body parts inside them. The man who lived in the farm had murdered his 2 wives and drank their blood. He was about to murder his 3rd wife when a lynch mob and the police officer lynched the man and stabbed him through the heart. The vampire is apparently buried on Rupert Lane, and then in the 19th century work was done on the road, so his remains was found and moved to St. James's Cemetery. His wives he murdered are also buried here, and wild garlic grows close to his grave. It is said the garlic is to stop him going over to his wives. A lady who lived on Huskisson Street said she saw the vampire one night. She felt like she was being watched, so when she went to her window and looked down, she saw a blue-faced figure looking up at her. The next morning, a black rose was waiting for her outside her door. But all this might just be a legend, as we have researched for this apparent vampire, and no evidence has ever been found.
A lovely white figure has been seen running through the cemetery on the path.
A spirit of a soldier from the 1600s has been seen many times walking round by the headstones. The cemetery also has a witch buried here. She had a witch cult called the Wiccans. The head witch was called Jenna Green. She would perform satanic rituals here. A lady who was visiting from Australia took a picture in the cemetery by Jenna's grave, and on the picture was a black figure which looked like she was walking through overgrown weeds and stinging nettles. The figure had long black hair. A lot of people say that Jenna Green is actually Jenny Greenteeth, but this is wrong information. Her name was actually Jenna Green, and a lot of people say she is evil. A lot of tales are told of Jenna Green as Jenny Greenteeth, but our research has shown us she wasn't evil and was just a practicing witch who run her own coven. So, as a very paranormal hotspot of Liverpool, why don't you join us tonight and come and investigate with us? Okay, so we're here where the witch has been spotted on quite a few occasions, so we'll see if we either catch her or she makes some type of noise. Even though it's dark, guys, there's still people walking around these gardens. So I'm just going to set up an EVP. So if Jenna Green would like to communicate with us, please speak into this little red light.
So this red light's on Paranormal.
So Jenna Green, if you are here, my name's Jenny.
And I'm Rob.
We're not here to harm you. We'd just like to speak to you. Could you make your presence known if you're here? Could you try tapping on something? Could you tell us how old you are? We're just going to pause the film here. Okay, we've started the footage again. Some people interrupted us. You'd often get that when you do investigations in open spaces like this.
The are spirit here, speaking to the device that I'm holding. Or my wife's.
And again, my EVP is running, and I'm just going to place it down. So if there is anybody here, if Jenna Green is here, could you please make yourself known? Make a noise. We mean you no harm.
Nothing knows.
Now, just to the back of us here, where Jenna Green is buried, the apparent vampire body is buried just behind where we are right now. So, Jenna Green, if you are here, there's been a lot of people who have caught you on camera, a picture. Would you like to come out and say hello to us? Can you make any sort of sound to let us know you're here? Could you tell us how you died? Can you tell us, was it true you used to run a coven? And you did rituals in this cemetery?
I'm starting to feel a bit eerie. Like something watching. I don't want you.
No, I'm feeling good right now. I just keep hearing noises in the trees behind us.
I do.
It's probably birds or bats. A little bit of rustling coming from over this direction. You hearing that?
Yeah. Probably a rat.
Yeah, possibility. Hey look, I was hearing quite a bit of noise, Joe, coming from that tomb that was over there.
Yeah.
That we spotted earlier.
I'll-
Do you want to go over?
I'll head over.
You want to watch the... Yeah.
Right guys, I'm just heading over to this tomb because my wife has just heard a noise. Right, I'm by the tomb now. So, if there's anyone here that wants to speak to us, speaking to me device. That lights my wife down the bottom there, guys, doing a recording. So if there's any spirits here, do you want to make your presence known? Speaking to the device. Just making my way back to my wife, guys. So the camera will be a bit fuzzy.
It allows you to hear any type of noise that might be on.
Smelling like garlic.
Yeah, I'm smelling a lot of garlic going on. The garlic's normally associated with that vampire,
Yeah,
but yeah.
that's like kids coming in.
So we're going to move on, see if we can film William Huskerson's tomb.
Don't.
Okay guys, we're here at the tomb of William.
speak to us, William. You can do on our device. Mine will be wet.
I haven't turned my device on.
Oh.
I just used the one EVP. But if you want to place that on the step, see if it wants to go off. The EMF reader. So, William, if you are here, would you like to make yourself known? Make a noise. So as we said before, guys, William's spirit has been seen limping in and out of his tomb. Unfortunately, these barriers are in front of his tomb right now because vandals have decided to destroy the gate in front of his tomb. So they've put it up for protection from people because some of the brick is falling off until it gets repaired. I'll see if I can show you the brick. As you see, it's coming off at the top, guys. People just have no respect for the dead anymore. William, if you are in there, could you please tell us how you died?
It's a bit shaky, guys. Stepping over the stone. Background noise, guys. People talking on the top.
Could you tell us how old you were when you died? I know you were an MP for Liverpool. And again, guys, we're going to have to pause the recordings. Okay, guys, so we're continuing the recording again. The same two people who stopped us before have just stopped us again, just asking questions about the ghosts that haunt this cemetery.
So William, if you're out here, you can speak into this device. I'll be recording this.
Apparently some people have actually caught William's spirit standing in the corner of his tomb, so that's why Rob's just pointing his camera in there to see if he can get a better look. Why Rob's just pointing his camera in there to see if he can get a better look.
I'm just going to do this quick because I can feel cold in my hands. No freezing.
We have brought our temperature gauge out, guys, but the problem is when you're out in the open, the temperature does drop, so it's hard to determine if it's a spirit dropping the temperature or whether it's just the weather. Let's see if I can move you guys.
Shaky camera.
It's hard to get a close view inside, guys, because of the bars, because of vandals. Couple of still photos I've just took, see if we get anything on them. William, if you're here, can you please make yourself known? Make a noise. If you can hear running water in the background noise, it's the spring running. The spring continuously runs. William, if you are here, are you upset that somebody has vandalled your tomb? What do you reckon to paying little Grace a visit?
Can do.
Okay, so we'll turn on the cameras again when we've walked over to where little Grace is. Okay, we're here at little Grace's grave. The poor little thing, she got an unmarked grave until her name was carved into stone. So just above the flowers we placed here for her just before, there is her name. I'll put my light on. Little Grace.
So, little Grace, if you are here with us, you can speak into that device.
Okay, I'm setting up my device. So, little Grace, if you would like to come and speak to us, it's okay to come and say hello. Do you like the flowers we placed here for you?
Do you like playing around here?
I'm just going to move the camera, guys, just to give little Grace some space. In case she would like to come out and say hello. Little Grace, if you are here, do you like being called Little Grace? Or do you just prefer to be called Grace? Now, little Grace has been known to have been seen crying, saying nobody visits. It must be really sad for her. One, to be in an unmarked grave, and two, to not have anybody visit, just people keep coming, same like we are, and expecting her to perform a bit like a sideshow. But we mean you no disrespect, Grace.
Which is not acceptable. No.
Which is why we brought you the flowers. We mean you no disrespect. We thought we'd visit you, seems nobody else will.
Speak into the device on the rail. Make a noise.
Now we're here at one of the quarrymen's tunnels. As you can see, it's bricked up. All the quarrymen's tunnels were bricked up. So if there is anybody here who would like to make themselves known, can you make a noise?
Tap on the bars. That's me right, guys.
Now there's little holes, don't know if you can see them, yep, just about there, and then there's another one here in the actual brick. Yeah, you're tapping on brick. You see anything? Yeah, just hold it again. Now everybody is gonna have this cemetery now. There's just me and my husband here.
Sorry for the fast spin, man, guys.
If that was you tapping, can you do it again? You hear that then? Huh. Get no readings off the EMF, guys. Now if you do visit St James's Cemetery, the ground is definitely uneven. There is a path, but if you do venture onto the grass, be careful because there is a couple of ditches.
Loose flags.
Loose flags, yes. So just be careful if you ever venture here, and especially overnight. It's even worse because this place is not lit up, so I would suggest bring a torch with you.